everybody, it is Julie. Welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I am here with my very first AuthorTube video. Guys, this is something that I'm going to be doing on my channel more often. I will have an entire playlist that is created just for author or writer related videos, but originally when I started this channel, Pages and Pens, it was about pages for reading and pens for writing, and it was always meant to be a dual channel. The only problem was when I started the channel, I wasn't writing as much as I wanted to be, and now I am. And whether it's my own writing or editing, I have advice for writers, and I have a voice as a writer and a passion as a writer that I want to incorporate here into BookTube. Now, a lot of you guys have expressed interest in the novels that I'm writing, and this is a great way for me to incorporate some of that as well. So I will be doing tags like meet my characters or this song. There's a tag that incorporates like your book and then songs and like how songs relate to your book or something. So I will be doing things like that, as well as advice for writers, advice for editing, etc. Not a majority for sure, but every now and then when the mood strikes, I do want to be able to share that kind of content here. I am starting off with the AuthorTube Newbie Tag, just like I would when I was a booktuber, and I started off with the BookTube Newbie Tag. I'm starting off with the AuthorTube Newbie Tag. So I will be sharing a little bit about myself as an author and seeing how this goes. I've only seen a couple of videos on it. So the AuthorTube Newbie Tag was created by Jenna the Dark One in October of 2016. I will have her video linked down below, and it looks like there are 13 questions, so I'm going to go over all of those. I have not really pre-looked at any of these, so we're gonna see how they go as I answer them. But unlike BookTube, I don't have to have books pulled, so it is awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into the AuthorTube Newbie Tag. All right, so number one is how did I find out about AuthorTube? This one came about, I believe, by another person who was a dual booktuber and author. I want to say it was Elliot from Elliot Brooks or Evie Novels. I will have her channel linked down below because I'm almost 100% certain that's where I figured this one out. She's as well an author and a booktuber, and she does dual kind of videos on her channel, which is what I would ideally like to be doing. So that is where I found the videos first, and then I watched a couple of other ones. And I haven't delved into AuthorTube the way I have BookTube, so I do hope to do that more as I continue to publish more videos on this and get inspiration from people. I definitely found out about it through Elliot, though. Number two is what genres do I write in? I published a collection of short stories in 2016, and those are a combination of contemporary, fantasy, paranormal, thriller. It's a little bit of everything. And then the first draft that I just finished is a YA. Right now, it's a YA paranormal fantasy series. However, I'm relatively certain that I will be aging it up from YA to new adult and really trying to hit the new adult paranormal and fantasy genres. I just don't think that there's enough new adult aged fantasy, and I'm really hoping to be able to do that. So my story will be going into new adult and fantasy, but fantasy and paranormal are what I really like to write, just because it's what kind of really gets my imagination flowing. So right now, that's what it is, although some of my short stories and things are contemporaries. Number three, what is my preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? Children's, YA, new adult, adult. Love writing young adult and new adult. I think that I loved writing young adult when I was younger, and now that I'm older, I don't necessarily want to go full-blown adult, but I do like the new adult genre, and I think that it's very underpublished, so I'm hoping to really continue to work in that particular genre or category. For the most part, I like third person. I also do like first person, but it really depends. The book that I just finished is third person, but it's the first time that I've switched back and forth between two main characters and different perspectives, so that was interesting for me. Number four, are you a plotter, a pantser, or a plantser? I would have said 1000% before finishing my first novel that I was always a plotter. I plotted everything. I have notebook upon notebook, like legitimately 7 notebooks for the novel that I'm working on right now, or the series I'm working on right now. And what I realized was that was all fine and good, but it ended up being a way for me to prolong actually writing the book, because if I never wrote it, I couldn't fail at it. So as long as I stayed in that planning phase and plotting phase, I didn't have to worry about whether or not the story was actually any good or not. And it ended up being a cop-out. So I also realized as I started to write the book that a lot of what I had plotted as the characters grew and developed as I wrote them it didn't make sense anymore, and I was trying to write for what I had already pre-plotted instead of letting the plot grow as I was writing. And I realized that's something that I had to learn how to adapt as I wrote. But what I've recognized is going into book 2, I'm going to definitely plants. I think that plantsing is the way to go. I want to have specific plot points and different like conflicts and progression through the story. However, leave a lot of the rest of it up to wherever the characters feel like they need to go. And I feel like once I embraced that in book 1, things went a lot smoother for me. I wasn't fighting the characters in the story as much. So that's my goal for book 2 and 3 and potentially 4, is just to really kind of like trust the process, have a vague idea of what I want to happen, and then kind of let it go. But I already have at this point characters down, things like that, setting. So those things I definitely plot. I always pants the dialogue. I don't ever plan dialogue. I'm a combo. I'm a plantser. Number 5 is, are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? I am self-published. My first book, Shoot Down the Wendy Bird, a collection of flash fiction and poetry, is self-published, and I did that through CreateSpace and KDP or Amazon Publishing. So that's what I did for my first short story collection. I will be finishing up the edits on current book 1 of this series, and I wrote it as YA, so I have to edit it as YA so that when I go to publishers, if they want it to be YA, it's ready as YA, and then I want to adapt it to new adult and then also let them know that that's what I prefer. But my goal is to pitch to publishers, and if for some reason that doesn't work in an amount of time that I find reasonable, then I will move on to self-publishing. Don't think that there's any reason not to self-publish. I think that there's a lot more creative control that you hold when you're self-publishing, and plenty of self-published authors are still getting a ton of recognition. I don't think it's as mandatory anymore that you go through publishing houses, honestly. So I don't think there's anything wrong with self-publishing, but I'd like to at least pitch this one and see what I can get. Number 6 is, what publishing company, literary agent, and or printing company are you represented by or use? And if you are not yet published, what is your dream publishing house or literary agent? I don't have a dream agency as of right now. I know that I like Macmillan. I know that I love Simon & Schuster and some of the stories that they put out. I'm gonna try for the larger ones, but at the same time, you know, who knows what ends up happening. I'm not represented by anybody, and I'm gonna pitch everywhere and see what comes up. But at the end of the day, it's just about finding, I guess, an agent or a publishing house that believes in you and supports you and still gives you creative freedom. And as long as I can have that, then I'm happy. Number 7, what AuthorTube related videos can we expect to find on my channel? What I'm probably going to end up doing is a lot of talks about tips and tricks, inspiration for writers and authors, tips for self-publishing. I will probably be also giving you looks into my works in progress. So the author tubes are going to be really kind of touching base on my works in progress, where I'm at in my writing journey, and maybe some like writing vlogs, and then tags and or advice videos. If those are things that you're looking for, then you know that you can come here and you'll know by the title if it's the right video for you or not. Number 8, when did I start writing? Always. I've always been a writer. I would physically harm kids in kindergarten because the punishment was sitting down to write, and all I wanted to do was sit down and write. So eventually the teacher called on and was just like, when you feel like writing, go write. Like, please stop kicking your friends in the shin. Always, from the moment I could write, I was writing. I was writing my first little stories by like 7 or 8, and I was writing full-fledged novels in high school. They will never see the light of day, but I was writing full novels in high school. Whether it was journaling or writing creatively or doing short stories and poems or full novels, I don't think there's ever been a time where I have not been writing. And it's just kind of like my own self-therapy, my own kind of like relaxation, even though it causes you so much stress too, but it's amazing. And I would say that I've always considered myself a writer. What was the first story you ever wrote is question 9. Oh my goodness. I am sure when I was younger, it was like little stories about, you know, friends or friendships or adventures, or we used to have like a clubhouse on the block that all the kids played in. So it was probably something surrounding that. And then my first novel was like a twist on, it was like part Babysitter's Club, part R.L. Stine. It was about a group of friends. And then like, I don't think it was like murders, but like animals in the neighborhood started showing up dead, and there was like conflict between, you know, girls and the guy, like the love interest, and like jealousy and mystery. It was so bad. It was like everything rolled into one, and none of it needed to be included. It was bad. I loved writing it. I had a lot of fun with it. Number 10, what authors have inspired your writing the most? Lately, I have to say probably Sabaa Tahir, Victoria Schwab, and maybe like Leigh Bardugo. All of them are very active on like Instagram, Insta stories, and Sabaa Tahir takes you through her editing process and what it's like to go through first drafts, second drafts, line edits. Victoria Schwab does the same, and she gives you motivation and her goals and what her process looks like. The same with Leigh Bardugo. And they also do like writing retreats, and they show you that writing is not a solitary thing, and they show that you can be like friends with your other writers and still get places. The same with Adam Silvera does a lot of that as well, and showing you that it doesn't need to be this like cloistered solitary thing, which I love and adore. So they've been inspiring me a lot lately to realize that you can be an author and be busy and have an active social life and still practice self-care and goal setting and accountability. And for me, that's been really inspirational as an adult to know that my skill is there, the talent is there. It's just a matter of budgeting my time and making sure everything works. And they've been really inspirational in being able to do that. Plus, I just genuinely enjoy all of their writing so much. I think they're all very, very talented writers and authors. So for me, that's very inspirational to see me love Leigh Bardugo and Sabaa Tahir and Adam Silvera and Victoria Schwab and love their stories and what they create, and then also see that author side of them that's very human and raw and real. So that's been really, really great lately. It's like one of the best parts of social media. It's like realizing that the authors that you admire are human, but that they're also trying to help other writers is like beyond everything. So that's, you know, hopefully what I hope I can do for some people with some of these author related tags and videos. Number 11 is, do you schedule your writing sessions or simply write whenever I find time? Yes. I definitely write whenever I find time or inspiration strikes. However, I also do, when I'm actively writing, I schedule time every day. I have to write. I have daily word goals, usually 2,000 words every day that I want to hit. And the same kind of goes for editing. I set page goals for how many pages I want to edit every day. I have to have accountability in my goal setting. So for me, that's really, really important. I think that if you're going to want to make a decent go of it, and you really want to be a writer, and you really want to get your books sold and make them as great as they can be, then you treat it like a job, and you treat it with respect, and you make sure that you're making time for it. Number 12, do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those? Where do you write in general? I use my laptop. I do storyboard in notebooks. I like having a notebook where I can put ideas. I still have to use my laptop for everything, so I use Scrivener for all of my writing, and my character sheets, my location sheets, my story arc, you know, notes, everything goes into Scrivener, and I back everything up. And then I do have a physical notebook as well. As far as like where I write physically, I write here at my desk. The desk that I sit at to film is where I do my makeup. It's where I do my work. It's where I do my editing. It's where I do my writing. So as much as I can, I treat it like a job, and I try to write out of bed and actually sit at a desk and write. Number 13 is the last question, and it is, what am I most looking forward to now that I'm a part of AuthorTube? And honestly, it's probably going to be connecting with other authors, other self-published authors, getting inspiration and motivation for keeping myself accountable for different tips and tricks. Writing is a learning process, and the more you write, the better you get, the more that you connect with people and see how they work, the more you can kind of incorporate what works for you into your routine. And I do think that it's going to allow me connections for my professional editing company, and just in general, it's going to make me a better author, a more connected author to the community that's here already on YouTube. And I look forward to just bringing a little bit of diversity to my booktube channel that was always intended to be there. Sorry guys, my camera filled up, my memory card filled up, and I had to get everything onto my laptop and then come back here to finish this one up. So what I was saying was, the more that I feed my passion for writing, the more that I want to share that with you guys as a writer and a booktuber. So I think I'm most excited about just incorporating what was always intended to be on my channel in general, and to share that side of me, the creative side of me that likes to write books as well as consume them. And that has been the AuthorTube Newbie Tag. I'm very, very thankful that this is a thing. I'm very thankful that I came across it on BookTube and YouTube in general, and I'm excited to start bringing you guys a little bit more content in this realm. So if you are too, and you're excited for this as well, then please do give me a big thumbs up. If you're just finding me because of this tag and searching out this tag, welcome to my channel. My name is Julie, and I talk about books and writing here. Now writing, but books here as well. I am a published author as well as a professional editor. All of my links are always down below if you guys want to follow me anywhere. And yeah, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, click subscribe, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye guys.